Okay. And I'm gonna do plan B. I need the memory card. Where's my memory card? I'm gonna also record myself regularly on the camera, so there's no way it can up. I'll manually edit the audio if I have to. I'll raw that audio. Wait, can you actually say something? Hello everyone, and welcome to Zankcast, where we talk about Beyblade topics. I am joined here by my co-host Nizuma, where we're gonna be talking about Beyblade X again. You gonna say something? Nah.
I'm kidding. Thanks for having me, Zankye. Appreciate it.
Give the viewers some context. We recorded 35 minutes, and it got fucked. And the reason why. So I use like a machine to record for it. It's like the equivalent of Google Hangouts, but it didn't update before we started. So basically what happened, which either way the recording couldn't have been salvaged, was I started lagging, so it would get interrupted. And then after the next part, Nizuma's audio was just muted the whole time on the machine, and I'm gonna actually double check to be sure right now. He's not muted again. I didn't hit the mute. Okay, I didn't hit anything. So I don't know how Nizuma even got muted in the thing, because the audio was on when we originally did it. But I was like punching that machine for like 30 minutes, so anytime there's not a Zankcast, that's the reason. And I'll lose my sanity. Okay, well, let's go over. It feels so awkward. We have to do it again. Okay, let's just cycle through it. What do we think of Leon Crest?
It's good. It's solid. I like it. Obviously, very different from Leon Claw. You know, typing's changed. One's defense, one's sort of like balance attack. So I don't really compare them like side by side, but I like Crest. I think it's a solid blade.
So you would say that Leon Claw is stronger than Crest?
Oh yeah, a double S tier as always.
All right. 760, we both kind of just came to the similar idea that 760, I think, has one issue where one copy I got is like super bursty. When you have your 760, is it like pretty bursty or is it normal?
It's normal. And in fact, I don't think I've ever had it burst. Like mine is like pretty solid. I know I've seen other people who are like, it's super bursty, I can't use it, but I haven't had that issue.
Yeah, one copy I got like burst super easily. Other one is like okay, but it's again like the RNG and stuff. Gear Needle is still useless to me. I don't like it.
Yeah, I don't either.
I don't know. Phoenix Rudder, more like Phoenix Crud.
Yeah. I messed around with it when I first got it for a couple of days, and then I just kind of threw it to the side. I like the way it looks, but it's just the shape is just not great.
Yeah, 970 is fine, I guess. I don't know. It's just 70 height.
Yeah, 970 isn't bad.
The glide bit I think is good, but I think the risk is that it's harder to use than ball for some players. I think it can destabilize stamina builds, but I think too many people are just afraid of using it.
Yeah, I like it. I like that it has high burst resistance, and like it can kind of be used for like some evasion builds, like high stamina evasion builds as well. I think it's pretty good. I'd like to see people try to utilize it a little more for sure.
I think was kind of funny was the only relevance it kind of got was on Cobalt Dragoon, because it could destabilize Wizard Rod on ball. And the reason why it does that is because when you hard launch Dragoon, any left spin it basically is technically almost same spin, but it'll destabilize and it should almost always OS if you hard launch. It's not perfect, but I thought it was okay. Like it was a funny combo, but moving on to September, what did we think about Whale Wave and Elevate?
Whale Wave's cool. I like it. I think it's definitely good for attack. It's a little recoily, so it has a tendency to kind of... It either is going to hit your opponent really hard or it's going to tank itself and just like very prone to getting self-KO'd. Yeah. Elevate, I really like. I wish it was higher burst resistance. I like running it on, well, I like messing with it on a few different things, but the low burst resistance for me has had issues with it like bursting on the rails.
Hmm.
But I really like the way it interacts with the stadium. I just, the low burst resistance just kills it for me.
I know they intended on whale technically being an attack type, and they modified like the octa shape to more rounder, but movement is nice, but the risk is too much. But I guess it makes sense for like the stamina equalizing, or even just stamina in general. Maybe that's why, but it's still
Yeah.
weird that we have a slider of resistance of like 80 and like 30 or whatever it is, 20, whatever. But they don't play with it.
Yeah, I would like to see them mess around more with different burst resistance. Like it would nice to see something in the middle for some of the stamina stuff. I don't know, maybe it would break the game a little too much. But things like Elevate, I feel like because they're so heavy and they have a tendency to like really catch the rails, they're hard to use. Like same thing with disc ball, like they're just very prone to self bursting just on the rails, like not even getting hit. I think it's mid tier.
S
At
tier, baby.
at mid tier, the biggest thing is like it's light, which isn't my biggest issue with it. My biggest issue is it's just like the as high as X sits, like it's hard to take advantage of like sort of the upper shape or whatever, and it's also super off balance. Both versions are like very off balance.
Yeah, I think upper is slightly better than rapid hit. Like rapid hit can equalize, but upper can do more like lifting up and KOs. The issue
Yeah.
you find with left spin is that since left spin, and it's probably because these are like hollowed out and they'll drag out even imbalanced, they're basically almost like same spin blades. So the only way I've been able to get them to work well is by really hard launching, but that's more reason why you need a left winder, because left can be more consistent, just because it's not like string is bad. I just feel like for certain designs, you need that higher RPM in order to like.
Yeah. It's hard to compensate with string, especially because all of the left spin stuff we've gotten so far is like built in off balance, so the stamina is already like suffers from that.
Mm-hmm. You're going to be getting eventually Silver Wolf in the Extreme Stadium, so I will cover this section. The
Sure.
stadium, I think, was the right direction to take. They did the Hasbro pockets, where those are basically like if you get KO'd, you get KO'd, and Extreme Finish is a little bit more rare. But what do you think of like the Hasbro pockets versus TT?
I think it's an improvement. I'm hoping that if they do a updated standard stadium or a revised standard stadium, that they integrate the new pocket design. I don't think popping out of the pocket should be an option. Just because there's a lot of early game strategies that rely on like early KOs, like depending on how you're launching, especially like sort of drop launching or tungsten launching or whatever you want to call it, where it's easier to get a KO at the
Mm-hmm.
beginning, and if somebody just pops out, it kind of undermines that whole strategy. So I do hope that they update into the new pockets.
Yeah, I don't like rebounds at all. I think that base should just get killed. Like even in the past, like we literally had exits. I think now it's probably
Yeah,
just changed for like I don't know safety or whatever. But I don't like that gameplay aspect. I think Hasbro had the right choice, and clearly TT agrees because their stadium literally had they didn't have to do it. They could have had the exact same pockets, but the fact that they have that is a sign to me that they're thinking, maybe if we get like some March or spring sets, we could probably get like a stadium with updated pockets.
yeah. Do you speaking of the new stadium, do you think that like Takara will end up using that for like finals and like tournaments and stuff, or you think that'll see any competitive play?
I mean, they use the 3-player stadium. Oh
Yeah.
god.
They've used motorized stadiums in the past as well for competitive for finals and stuff.
Yeah. They the 3-player stadium was its first stage?
Yeah.
Right. I think it was the Metal Fight one, the championship,
Yeah.
right? Okay, that's what I'm
Yep.
thinking of. Um, it'd be really funny if like 2025 World Championship is just that stadium.
I obviously don't have it yet, but I'm like just like a new variable like that, having like this weird little tornado ridge thing in the middle. I think it's a really cool idea. I'm definitely looking forward to like trying to come up with like some launch strategies or whatever. I think it's a really cool. A lot of people I've seen like don't like it because they're like, oh, it's just RNG. But that's what everybody said about the standard stadium too. So I think it's probably like it's one of those things that I'm looking forward to investing time into figuring out. But yeah, I don't know. I wouldn't be opposed to them using it in competitive in like final stages and stuff. I know a lot of people don't, but that's just me.
I like the factor of it. Like attack is still very usable. I think one worry that people had was that maybe stamina could be abusing it because it would just take the center and then it would avoid it. But I disagree. You can just target that part and use the attack type to your advantage. Again, I just like different play stadiums. Like I think the stadium is probably not going to be the biggest selling point for maybe pure competitive people, but Beyblade X is not really that appeal, to be honest. Like for that crowd.
Right.
Free ball gets really self-KO'd easily. Or not self-KO'd. It gets like the spike KO resistance. I don't know. Maybe I'm just not launching it right. I just felt like it definitely slows on the extreme dash, which is nice. But then after you also just like fall into the pocket. Silver Wolf, I think, maybe has good stamina. I didn't really go super in depth, and you'll obviously be trying it later on, so you'll have your video on your thoughts on it too. I just think it's like hard launch prey, because it's like heavy too, so that's like still a slight advantage.
It definitely looks cool. I'm not super convinced on the free spinning underside of it. I don't know how much that's gonna actually like. Maybe it would be okay against like something like Shark that's trying to get under it, but I don't know. I'd have to see it in practice.
What do you think about? Like, blades are now getting heavier over time, and I don't know if we're going to go back to, like, another... Because we technically got a 34, but, like, Whale's heavier than Aero Pegasus.
Yeah, I mean, I'm expecting a cap. I don't think blades will go past 40 grams. I think that'll probably be the limit. But it would not surprise me to see some other stuff that creep back down in weight. Like, because we saw with the release of the UX stuff, we all expected things to just continually get heavier. But then Shinobi came out, and it's a paperweight. It's barely even a paperweight. It's like what, under 30 grams or something.
Yeah.
So I don't know. I would like for them to keep things balanced, which they've done a pretty good job of so far. So we'll see. I'm not opposed to things getting a little bit more weight, but I don't want to see stuff get like super outclassed. I like to use some of the older stuff.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting once we head into November with a lot of these releases, because if these are like decently weighted and we don't see any real creep, then that's going to be interesting. Just weight creep is always a hard thing to avoid with Beyblade, but I prefer if we just keep the same weight range, because you could technically have a Lights blade like 33, 34, and it could still be used like in competitive. I don't think you need to constantly go up. I think people just, I don't know if maybe they want creep or something. Well, that was like the worst part of Burst.
I mean, here's the thing too, is like they could creep the other parts without doing the blades. So they could make ratchets heavier or bits heavier, and that could help. Like if they want weight creep, they could creep those parts. That way they're still interchangeable with the old stuff. And so you still get the incentive of buying the new stuff because it's heavier, but not because of the blade, because of maybe the ratchet's heavier, the bit's heavier. That would be a better way to keep things balanced.
I think we saw that with 760. And that's at least like, that could help like bays with shitty weights, like maybe like a Shinobi have a slightly better chance. I feel like they gotta really push on the experimentation of that stuff. But they are kind of exploring slowly. We have our Garuda.
Yep, new Phoenix Beyblade.
Nothing about it. We don't like it.
I like the design of it. I like the aesthetic of it. I don't care for the chip design personally, but I do like the design. I'm hoping it doesn't end up like another Vice where the shape is like not great. Because Vice looked very cool too, but it ended up not being super great because the contact point shape.
Yeah, they gave it like ventilation. I don't know what that's for.
Coolness.
So the idea is like, I think one blade's supposed to like dampen stamina or something or attack, and the other one's like counter attack. I think the idea is like, I mean, every balance type now is trying to bend like 50-50 of one thing, or sometimes multiple, like Vice Tiger. I think I don't know. I don't like the shape. If they make it heavy, maybe. Because like Vice Tiger is really bad, and it's mostly because of the weight. No, actually, the shape is bad. Because like, I feel like I would use Drawn Sword before I would look. Would you use Drawn Sword or Vice Tiger if you had to pick one?
Drawn Sword.
Yeah, so then, yeah, the shape is bad, and you need the weight to carry it. Even the weight was like 34, and that wasn't that bad. But like, I don't know. I don't like the gimmicks
Like,
of like.
well, yeah, I mean, Leon Claw is lighter than Vice, and I would consider Leon Claw to be better. I really think it's mostly shape for Vice because, like, the contact points go upwards, which, like, doesn't help for contact. It's better for them to be pointing down than for it to be pointing up. And it's just a weird shape. It looks super cool, but it's just weird. So hopefully this new Garuda, hopefully the contact points are decent. Same thing with rudder. Like the shape, like the underside of it curves upwards, and it's just like it just doesn't work.
Yeah, and the issue again was weight, which is like an odd. Sometimes there's just a bad shape and you need weight to carry it. I don't know, it's always case by case. We got our new bit, which is transpoint. So this bit, how this works is that you're always point, but you'll be a lower high mode. So for an example, I'm going to walk 1 second. So you could be, for an example, like low height, you do an extreme dash, then you switch to a taller height. So what's interesting about that is the randomness maybe in battle. I don't think the concept actually should work in a competitive sense. I think it just sounds fun because like I don't know any situation where you want to be low than high unless you somehow like target the ratchet or I don't know destabilize the opponent. Then
Yeah, I don't know how good it's gonna be. I thought it was that it went from a flat to a point or something, but it seems like it just goes up and down, which is like far less interesting in my book. Because like it's when we're talking about like the height variance, it's probably going to be like a millimeter difference, which is going to be marginal. I just don't see it being in practice. I don't see it being that great. I think the one thing that it might have going for it is it's probably going to be a little heavier than regular point, so maybe it'll be more optimal to use that, but I don't know. We'll see.
yeah, I think it'd just be good for maybe have a second point. Otherwise, like I feel like there's nothing. This release is kind of hard to have any appeal. It has 470.
Yeah.
Well, we get the best X release, stronger than 10 Leon Claws combined. Samurai Saber. It'll cut a line in half.
Neon Genesis Evangelion.
True. So the gimmick in this is that it's kind of what they had Ragnarok and Burst with like its wings, where the metal will be pushed outwards for like one hit, and then after when it goes near the end game, it'll be like multi-hit. I generally think that the shape of it looks pretty nice, like it looks pretty aggressive. I do wonder if the metal parts kind of stay locked. If they get pushed in, it's going to be kind of counterproductive.
Yeah, I think the shape looks really cool. Colors look cool. Overall, the aesthetic of the entire thing I really like. I think it's one of the cooler ones that have come out lately. So I definitely hope it's good. I think the wing gimmick, yeah, I'm going to have to see it in practice. Beyblade's always done these weird sort of shifting parts or whatever. They usually don't do much. So hopefully this one, I don't know, is a little better in practice, but we'll see.
Yeah. Level is a bit where it's literal. So the bottom portion of it will go very slow. The middle will go like regular. and the outer portion, I guess, supposed to like super accelerate. So they're trying to play with like the speeds of attack types, and I think the idea with Beyblade X always extreme dashing is really cool. So then to kind of explore a bit where this is like, hey, we'll go super super. I don't know, like is it gonna be like gear flat fast and like rush fast? That's what I'm kind of wondering on like how you launch it or the angle.
Yeah, very interested in messing with it. It looks cool. I like the idea of like the different levels affecting how it performs. So like you can mess around with like, you know, different launch angles and get different effects or whatever. So hopefully it's as versatile as it's supposed to be. I definitely think it looks cool.
We have our new launcher, which is a hold launcher. So this features a rubber grip and a winder that is slightly longer than the previously established cord. I think it looks cool. I don't know.
Yeah, I like it. I like the rubber grips. I'll probably be sticking them on something else, but overall, I think it's cool, especially for ripcord users. I think they'll really like that. I'm mostly a string guy, but the added rubber grips, I think, is going to be cool to swap around.
Yeah, and you can use the regular long winder on normal stuff too, so you're not just locked to that launcher, which is nice. I think next up is the Night Customized Set, or whatever it's called, the Customized Set. Best value.
Yes, looks amazing. There's a lot of really cool stuff in there. The red Tyranno beat and the blue hammer, I think look absolutely phenomenal. I really hope we get more painted bays in the future. I don't even like hammer, and that looks amazing. So definitely looking forward to the set. Obviously, a lot of cool parts as well in terms of like we get a rush reprint. I think there's another point bit, and then we get obviously the new rubber bit as well, which is sick.
They decided to give us metal needle. Well, everyone asked for that. Wow.
I'm just it's just gonna end up wherever the other one is. I don't think I've touched it since it came out, so it's just like I don't use it at all. I'm not gonna put dents in my stadium for that.
We also have our reprint of Rush. Well, now the only way to get Rush, an expensive customized set, the Drawn Dagger set, which is discontinued, or as far as I can tell, it's still hard to get, or the expensive Hasbro set. Pick your poison.
Yeah, so there's like no cheap way to get Rush.
Hasbro's got to pick some single to release it with, please, and that single will sell out. They could do like another Savage Bear, and it'll sell if it had Rush.
True. Yeah, 100%. They could stick it on something terrible, and people will buy it just for the Rush.
Like Leon Claw.
Hey, chill.
Yeah. 770 I think is good just for probably balance combos, and they give us another 160. I think overall it's a very nice ratchet choice actually. Like, I would have maybe liked 4 ratchets, but
yeah. I'm 770 looks cool.
So I don't know. I mean, like for those type of ratchets, we got like a lot of bad 70s. 1 good and 2 bad. Because Saber has like 270, 2 sides bursts when you like sneeze. 470, if you blow on it, it'll like dissipate. I don't know. So actually 2 of the worst sides, same month. That's peak.
Oh yeah, that's kind of rough.
So the next one, which we'll kind of build up towards, is going to be Night Mail. What do we think of this night?
Looks bad.
Alrighty.
I'm calling it now. It looks bad.
Think it'll perform like shit?
Yeah, I mean, it's just like it's weirdly shaped. I think it's going to be too recoily for defense. I don't think it's not round enough to be good for stamina. Maybe you can do something with attack, and then the ball bearing gimmicks like almost never functionally work well. And just like instead of going out to the side, they go up as well, which is really weird. Like there's already an issue with like some X stuff being top heavy. I don't really understand trying to put more weight towards the top.
I don't know why, but it looks like it's like mugging. Like it's just like. I do like that actually the gear chip has the design where it references on like the armor, like the 3 metal golden balls that it has on there on like the design. I think that's cute for the design.
Yeah, the design doesn't look bad. I don't dislike the aesthetic or anything. I think it looks cool. I just don't have high expectations for it.
I mean, even the side profile looked pretty thin, unless that's just one of those weird 3D renders, which may be, but I feel like the idea here is that it's supposed to work with everything. So like we'll shift slightly to bound spike. So the gimmick, as far as I can tell, it's supposed to push into the ratchet, so like shock absorption. I don't even think that's... I feel like it's a gimmick that I don't believe has worked that effectively. Like, I think like the nothing driver and burst... Nothing. I'm pretty sure it was only good for stamina, but not because of the shock absorption. Like for defense, the idea like you get hit but you bounce, I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know. I'll definitely try it out. But yeah, it's a gimmick that I just like. How I don't understand how that's supposed to help with defense types.
I feel like it should just be. It should be unstable. Like, it feels like an anime gimmick where like you'll hit and you'll do this, but I feel like probably what's gonna actually happen is you're gonna hit, it's gonna go like this, and then it's gonna go like falling down like a bunch of stairs.
Or the inertia might just burst it. I don't know.
Like even the 385, and now they actually label the ratchets with the number, which is funny, but so this ratchet, like, doesn't matter what bit resistance you have on it, but like, I don't know. Have you ever used like, I feel like 80 height's already hard to sell for people to use. Like, even if I picked a combo, it would be like some aggressive balance combo. Like, I don't know. It's possible, but I don't know if I would use 80 or even hell 85.
Yeah, I don't touch 80 typically. There's very few combos that I've seen people use 80 on effectively. The issue with going high in X is that things like being taller just makes you more prone to being able to get extreme finished or KO'd because it's easier to get underneath you. And X is already tall. It also makes things more off balance because the center of gravity is higher. So it has a bigger chance of tilting and wobbling and stuff, which some people like. They like that whole idea of tilting for defense or whatever. But in practice, like it works early game, but like if you get past early game and you're going up against something like, Phoenix on point or whatever that's got high stamina and good attack, like it just doesn't work towards the end of the game. So 85 to me, unless it's just insanely good for whatever reason, I just don't see myself using it. But I mean, of course I'll test it, but just 85 just doesn't sound like something that's going to be great.
I think even on the, I don't know. I hope that means maybe we'll get like 55 before we get 50. I don't know.
Yeah, true. Yeah, they could do that. I wouldn't be opposed to going under 60.
I think they might play around with this. Like I might see 55, 65, 75. Like they'll go in those increments because like Metal Fight eventually they just tired them all out. But I think even if you get to like hypothetically, because we're not even that far into year 2. By the time Metal Fight got to like the 230, they didn't go beyond that. They didn't go like 240, 250. Like it's okay.
Yeah.
I think what X should probably do, they should exhaust all the number of sides, and then they should introduce gimmicks into the ratchets, because that's the only way you keep ratchets interesting.
Yeah, I would agree with that.
Yeah, because otherwise it's like, I don't know, like the appeal is kind of lacking to me. The other stuff will just, I don't know, they included piss in this set, actually. Like, literal, the Blade's actually not that bad, but this like piss colored, man. This is like Talon Terra, or Terra Swing, I mean.
Yeah, I'm not a huge fan of the color, but there's definitely worse Hasbro exclusives they could have picked, so I'm not super upset about it. I'm interested to see what Japan does with it now that they're getting some of these Hasbro exclusives or Hasbro first blades or whatever.
So Bear Scratch is awful, and whatever the other one's called, Savage Bear, Knife Shinobi or Shinobi Knife. I don't like it. Both Rhino clones. This is the only one that I think is actually good that they picked so far, because like Terra can destabilize opponents because of the slope, because it's a better Viper tail. But you gotta like hard launch tilt, so that's like at least nice. I do probably think what'll happen, because what I assume is that Hasbro and TT has this relationship where they collab with ideas. So I assume that Hasbro wanted filler content, and since TT already did the concept of echoes, like with Dynamite and Devil and Burst, and Phoenix Feather and Phoenix Wing, I assume we will probably see like a Aurora Tyranno, or Tyranno or whatever, like a lot of these other ones as filler stuff. And I think it's okay if they want to include it, but I think it should be like I I'll let them get away with it in a random booster of sets like this, but I think in a stadium set, no. Fuck off. I don't want it.
Yeah.
Like, imagine wanting Cobalt Drake and they give you fucking Bear Scratch. 28 grams.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, I think Japan wants Drake as well. So I don't know. It's got to happen eventually. Like, it's just like they can't lock that stuff behind exclusives forever. Like, they gotta give us a recolor or something.
So our last one is about Excel. So the reason why this step is really good is recoil control. So Whale Wave, Shark, your Buster, they all suffer from the same thing. They'll fight against their own recoil. You could self KO literally because of that. So why Rubber XL is good is that they have the guard like elevate. So that means when you're accelerating with all that speed and friction, you're not going to be slowing down on the stadium. So that way your rubber doesn't wear as bad. But not only that, now your attackers, when they hit, they can actually hold still. But I think for stuff like Whale, Buster, Shark, this is going to be like big for them. This could be a thing that could maybe annihilate, because how do you feel about like Wizard Rod in general? Like, do you think Wizard Rod's like terrible? No, like, you know what I mean, like cringe in the meta? Like, what do you think?
I think it's fine. I think a lot of people probably overhype it or overestimate it. I don't think it's that hard to deal with. And I definitely agree with you. I think Rubber Excel will only help attack types against that matchup, just because, like you said, there's a lot of things that are very recoily, and that can be to their own detriment. But with rubber bits, it'll basically keep them in place. So things like Buster, Shark, and Whale are going to be way safer to use on that bit, given that the rubber is good. So some people have 3D printed it, and it seems to be good, but we don't know what that rubber is going to be like, if it's going to be soft or hard or whatever. But either way, I do think it'll be an improvement at the cost of stamina, because it does look pretty wide.
Yeah. Yeah, I probably would be the case. I mean, I think overall November has been actually probably the best month. Like, since Cobalt Drake is probably when it was exciting, and that's just because it was the left spin. But only really UX, I really felt like there was a real shift and really like exciting. I think after a bit, I think everything felt kind of plain, and I think the fact that we're seeing a lot more gimmicks now in Arc 2 or Season 2, I think helps build Beyblade X to be a little bit more exciting. Not that it was boring. They probably could have survived without doing gimmicks for maybe even another year, but I like this approach.
Yeah, I'm glad they're finally starting to introduce some other gimmicks and stuff. It just like it keeps it fresh. Like, you can only get so many, flat and low flats and balls, and before like you want something else. Even if it's like gimmicky or it doesn't work well, it's like interesting to see them trying new things or trying to make more complex parts work.
Yeah, I don't know. You have any lasting thoughts? Otherwise, you can just like plug your stuff.
No, I think that's about it. Definitely looking forward to everything coming out. It's everything looks really good. Oh, what did you think of the that new like tournament set that's coming out, the triple set?
Oh, the drawn
The
set?
like white and gold one. Yeah, yeah.
I still don't know how you're supposed to get it. There's like a 3 set of like drawn bays, and I assume it's maybe sold at some championship, whatever. I like the metal coat white. I actually thought that's what Beyblade X would have had at the start, where like the original Metal Fight did, where like they had like a coating at the start, or like paint or whatever.
Yeah.
I think the parts choice is obviously bad, but I think the purpose was it's supposed to be sold at an event, and then after, like,
Yeah.
if you're a new player, you could use, like, oh, 3 different drones. I would hope this gets normalized, but probably not. It looks really cool, and it's probably gonna be one of those things where it's like Asia exclusive or something, and I'm gonna like
Yeah,
cry that I can't get it.
that's what I heard. I heard Asia exclusive, but hopefully it's not too hard to get on the secondhand market. But I like that it's labeled for the championship. I think the labeling is cool. It's one of those things that I would get for like collection to put on a shelf or something, because like those would probably look like trash after they're scratched up, but they do look really sick. I really like the color scheme.
Yeah, I'm kind of surprised they didn't do that color scheme. They kind of really like spam that in bursts with like gold and everything, but it looks really nice for Beyblade X stuff. I actually really like it, but where can the folks find you, and what are your plans for the rest of this month?
Sure. So I should have the new Silver Wolf and the new Stadium set end of this week. So definitely going to be doing some content on that. Obviously, just covering all the new releases as they come out, trying to do some more combos and stuff. I think I have a tournament at the end of the month that I'm going to try to hit up. So should have another tournament video. But you guys can find me on YouTube. It's Nizuma Blader. So that's pretty much my main spot. Patreon's still going. Yeah, if you guys want to check me out on Patreon, I think it's Patreon/Nizuma or / I don't know. It's on my channel if you guys want to support. We got little Max stickers that you guys can get, who is my cat. You might have seen him in the video. I don't know.
Sick. Alrighty. I think I froze on that screen, but I think we got to the end. Oh no, wait.
Yeah, you're good on my screen. Oh. Nope. Oh, you're good.
Okay. Well,
all right.
We did it. And if this doesn't come out
for the second time,
then fuck you next month.
All right, bro. Well, hopefully it came out all right.
Yeah.